let alone find the strength in each other. And so all the decisions we took at the budget, getting inflation down, freezing rail fares, freezing fuel duty, slashing the cost of childcare for working parents, supporting people with their energy bills, but also investing in every community in this country, backing a proper industrial policy, raising the national minimum wage, that is all the absolute foundation of a strong society, essential for restoring hope in Britain. Second, we need to reform the state so that it recognises contribution as the common sense basis for integration, most of all on migration. Now, I know that migration is bound up with who we are. Of course it is. It's fundamental for the stories people tell about themselves, their family, their history and relationships. And I will never denigrate the contribution migrants make to our society and our story. Quite the opposite. And yet, it seems obvious to me that failures in Britain's migration system under the Tories were so shocking that they weakened trust in politics, faith in democracy to deliver what people vote for, and now, exploited by politicians of grievance, support the idea that diverse people can ever truly come together. Now, I reject that politics with every fibre in my being. But if you're serious about bringing this country together, you cannot ignore this issue. And so, yes, our reforms on migration are about taking control of our borders, but they're also about contribution. I mean, go back to Windrush, which is such an important moment in our national story. The people who came here, they weren't victims, they weren't vulnerable. Britain didn't invite them here as an act of compassion. That is liberal vanity. No, they came here because Britain needed them, because they wanted to come. And Britain wanted them to make a contribution. And they did. They helped rebuild this country. Now, I think there's far more dignity in that story, the real story, than in this kind of fairy tale of Britain's charity. There's a mutual respect in it, a fairness grounded in contribution that I believe has always been the basis of trust in migration policy for the vast majority of people in this country. And so our reforms to migration, they will boost integration, they will restore trust, and they will help return us to a situation where the migration policy cannot be exploited by people who think that whiteness is the same thing as Britishness. And third, we need to be more vigilant in asserting British values and call out those who want to divide us, whoever they are. Now, obviously, that goes for any form of extremism, whether that is extreme right ideologies and their hatred of Muslims, or Islamist ideologies and their hatred of Britain and Jews. But it also means we've got to fight a more insidious, passive tolerance. I mean, it's not hard to support the just cause of a Palestinian state without being anti-Semitic. Millions of people do that, and I'm one of them. It is the policy of this government and this country to recognise Palestine. And yet, on the marches that supposedly support that cause, you will often see clearly racist banners, anti-Semitic hate, a fact that leaves a minority community in this country scared and intimidated. A community which, let us not forget, suffered the most recent terrorist attack on these shores. How can that be right for a country with values like ours? How can it be right to turn a blind eye to racist hatred of any kind, whether victims are Jews, Muslims, or any minority? It can't. And so, frankly, we do need to be much clearer as a society about what we expect of people and the responsibilities that come with rights. And that means much stronger powers to the Charity Commission to shut down charities that promote extremism. It means tougher regulation of homeschooling, because schools are so important for integration. And so we need a higher bar for people who want to opt out of that responsibility. And it means we need to improve across the state English language provision. Now, it's a simple argument. Everyone who comes here, who lives here, should have an opportunity to learn English, because it's essential for participation in our society. And so they should be expected to learn English. And yet, for years, we've simply not asked people to do that. That is a recipe for exclusion. And frankly, for people being vulnerable to abuse and exploitation. So we will change that. And we will stand united and together against any individual or organisation that does not want to shoulder the responsibility of British values. Fourth and finally, we've got to reverse the devastating decline in our communities. Give power, agency and control to people who want to improve their community. Now, you can see the signs over here, Pride in Place, led by you, backed by the government.